The University of Detroit Mercy presents another brand new episode of Ask the Professor, the radio show on which you match wits with University of Detroit Mercy professors in an unrehearsed session of questions and answers. Today's program was recorded using Zoom video conferencing technology.
The University Tower chimes, bringing another session of Ask the Professor, the show on which you match wits with University of Detroit Mercy professors in an unrehearsed session of questions and answers. I'm your host, Matt Mayo, and let me introduce to you our panel for today. I see, by the way, that my wife is very quietly trying to retrieve a piece of kitchenware from behind me. And it's really amusing, Leslie. I'm sorry. That's really great. Let me introduce to you our panel for today. To my relative left, right, depending on mirror image, it's Professor Mara Livesey.
Hello.
Hello, Mara. How are you doing?
I am just completely overwhelmed. I gave my first remote problem set today, and I think it was just as stressful for me as it was for my students.
I'm sorry to hear that, unfortunately. You alluded to the fact that there could be some drinking having already happened, happening, will happen in the future.
All of those times.
All of This one shows you where you are. This one shows you where you were. This one shows
Yes.
So, yes, exactly. I'm sorry to hear that, but these are all energy hills we need to get over sometime this semester.
Absolutely.
Can I ask, is there any hilarity that could be extracted from the stress that you underwent? Was it that they were sort of bombarding you with questions in the middle of it, or?
You know, actually during it wasn't that bad, but it's those last 5 minutes where I say, guys, you got to stop doing what you're doing and just focus on uploading an image for me, that I receive about 1 million messages, none of which I can get to in time. And I'm like, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, that is very overwhelming. Very overwhelming. It will get better. Because
it will.
It will get better.
It will.
Professor Heather Hill is here with us today.
Hello, one and all.
What do you feel like rooting for now, Heather?
All of you. I feel like rooting for all of you.
Yeah, we're rooting for you too.
ATP. ATP.
Talk about the drinking having begun.
Hey, I see some bottles of something there behind your head.
Yeah, I do too, Stephen.
Professor
You've got quite a collection there behind you.
Indeed.
Oh,
They're
my.
decorative, right, Stephen?
Decorative, that's right. Thank you.
Did you bring enough for everybody?
Yeah, yes, plenty.
Gosh.
Oh, come.
Well, Heather, tell us what the world is like in the world of sabbatical land.
It is remarkably wonderful and excellent, given what all of my colleagues are going through. So I'm refusing to complain about anything at this point.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. I appreciate that very much so.
Although I seem to find myself on committees nonetheless.
Of course,
Yeah.
So
some of them we keep in common, in tandem. So yes,
Yes.
I understand.
so
We're not real good about recognizing the literal meaning of sabbatical at U of D Mercy,
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
which of course is why we don't call it that.
That's right. It's leave. It's leave.
Mhm.
As in,
But what are we leaving?
make like a tree and get out of here. Second Back to the Future reference of this show. I'd like to welcome Professor Beth Oljar.
Good to be here.
Old jar, old jar, old jar.
Crystal clear. Her voice is crystal clear.
It is.
I turned up the volume on my mic, so
Awesome.
And the dulcet tones of Beth Buddy shine through.
Now, I'm going to guess that those books behind you are not decorative, Beth.
they're not, which doesn't by any means mean that I've read all of them, but they're not decorative.
They're Drew's comics, aren't they?
No, most of his comic collection is probably still in my sister's attic in Portland, unless we
Okay.
moved it to Detroit. I don't remember. I don't think we did.
Okay.
The rest of it is probably in the basement.
Okay. Professor Stephen Manning is here with us today. Decorative bottles and all.
Hello, all.
How's it going, Stephen?
Fine. Good.
I mean, I've had this conversation with you before. We're basically at less than 50 days before the federal election. And I just, no matter how contentious everything in the country gets, I would just guess this is a political scientist's Christmas, is it not?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's distressing as a citizen, but interesting as a political scientist, to be sure. Yeah.
Okay, we'll take it. I wonder quite a bit about this country right now. I just finished reading Caste by Isabel Wilkerson, which I will recommend to all.
Yeah.
Very, very eye-opening study of where we are in this country right now, and published during the pandemic. That's gotta, give you a couple bonus points there. So we'll see how it rolls out. How many? We got about a week and a half until the first debate. That should be quite interesting by the time.
I just double checked that I was going to get my ballot in the mail. We keep receiving the forms, right, to request it, and
Yeah, so do I.
we're getting so many of them. It was freaking me out. No matter how often Drew reassured me that he had made sure we were going to get our ballots in the mail. So finally, I just went on Michigan.gov, and it looks like they're going to be mailed this weekend. It said September 19th, which is tomorrow. So
Good.
The problem is, it's different groups that are sending you those absentee ballot applications. It's not the state. It's different politically interested groups that are sending to make sure you've requested it.
Oh, okay. Well, and I was worried,
I just
about
got another one
filling one of
today.
them out and sending it back. Like I'd get in trouble for trying to vote twice, or what.
No, they'll
Of
know
course I
that,
wouldn't do,
but you don't need
so
to.
I'm chill. I'm good now.
Good.
It's important to return that very quickly too, given the mails. Unless, of course, you're undecided.
No. Blue,
Right.
no matter who.
Good
I vote
answer.
for Joe
Good
Biden
answer, Beth.
footwear at this point. I vote for his
Professor-
shoes. It'd be more human than our current occupant of the White House.
Professor Dan Maggio is here with us today.
Hi,
Dan,
Matt. How are you?
Dan.
Yeah. Heather, you're in a very good mood today.
Ask her
What
what
is she drinking?
That's fantastic. It must be the residual effects of sabbaticalism.
Dan, it was, I can say this without question, around 5 a.m. this morning, it was 49 degrees outside. And
Yeah.
somehow, whenever I picture, that change to fall, which we're about to undergo or already have, I picture you being excited about pulling out a sweater or a jacket. I don't know what it is, but
I am. I'm excited. I'm actually meeting friends for drinks tonight, and I may have to wear long pants, which would be the first time I've had those out in forever since I'm a diehard shorts person.
yes, you are. Yes, you are. Well,
But
that's
I'm
good.
excited that the weather is turning cool,
That's right.
Chris.
crisp. Yes.
Professor Dave Chow is no doubt putting together a sketch right now to compliment the cat that he just
Starting on a
brought.
sketch.
Mara's cat is very interested in whatever it is. She's
I'm just trying to keep Mara's cat occupied. That's all. So, the cat keeps on coming in frame. I figure at least give Mara's cat, somebody to play with. So,
Have your classes met your cat or cats yet?
Oh, yes. They frequently comment on when Jupiter jumps in my lap, or sometimes they'll see Luna on the back of my lifting set.
Yep.
They are one of my class.
Luna.
I've
She's
been letting
napping.
Nia stay in my office instead of shutting her out. So she's gotten introduced to a couple of my classes, and of course, they think she's adorable. So I'm hoping that'll rub off on their teaching evaluations at some
there
point.
you go.
Right.
that's
Your
what
cat's
bribes are
cute.
for, Beth. That's what bribes are for.
Goodness.
That's cute.
Professor Jim Tubbs is also with us here today.
Hello. I have no cat, so I just have to watch other people's.
It's
Jim,
okay.
I'll let you borrow this one. Okay. I mean,
There you go.
Oh, you cut it out.
And I love Jupiter's tail in the frame. That is awesome. That is totally awesome.
It's like a feather boa gone awry.
Should send it
Well,
to Lindsey
folks,
Graham.
This is a program where you can send us questions regarding anything. If you stump the panel, you win a prize. If you don't stump the panel, you win a prize. You can send the questions to us in a number of ways. You can email us at atp@udmercy.edu. Find us on Facebook and Instagram, or listen on your favorite smart speaker by asking it to play Ask the Professor at University of Detroit Mercy. You know, been sitting on these too long, or maybe I just remembered we had them. We've got a set of questions from Professor Stephen Manning. You wrote these on 1st of July, Stephen.
Ooh.
And, what I want the panel
Are
to
they
do,
about baseball?
they are not. They are
Oh,
not.
thank goodness.
oh. Are they about
I'm
Mogan
glad you
David?
said that, not me.
These, you have to put on a hat
Baseball.
labeled 1st of July, 2020. Okay, that's important.
Okay.
Because these questions are all about the state of the United States of America with regard to the global pandemic on 1st of July, 2020. Okay?
Oh, okay.
What percent of coronavirus cases, so let's say those are positives, were reported by counties that President Trump won in the 2016 election? What percent of coronavirus positive cases were reported in counties President Trump had won? So this would basically be at the height of the pandemic, July 1st, right? What percent?
64.
75.
You mean of all the ones that were reported, what percent came from counties that supported Trump?
Specific counties that supported Trump, not states, but counties.
65.
So I'm going to say it's a very low number. I would say
I'm going to say 75.
20%.
I have heard some 60s and some 70s, and I'm going right to Dan with the error bars. The answer is 27%. Is
Wow.
27%.
Whoa.
Well, they did think in the White House initially that this was only going to affect blue states.
That's true.
So they
That's
didn't, why do anything about it?
Yeah, and he said the other day, if they discount the blue states, then our numbers are very low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's only the president for certain states, so I mean,
Not these.
So-
unit-
So may I ask, what does that low number demonstrate?
I would say there's not
Population.
a lot of testing going on
Not a lot
in
of
those areas. Not a lot of reporting.
I would say it's less testing and less people saying that they would like to be tested. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably both of those
Yep.
things together.
So I would
Because-
say there's a higher denial rate,
Yeah.
which would lead to less interest in being tested.
I'm giving Dan these wizard, what are the seer of Omaha, kind of status here, because the next question, which I'm just jumping right over, was, and what percentage of deaths? And it is exactly 21%. You said 20, and that's pretty amazing that you were able to pull that number out of thin air. So
Well, I'm really Jeff's not here, so I'm trying to fill in for him
somebody's got to do the numbers, right?
because he's the numbers guy.
If your major metropolitan areas are, not that there aren't major cities in the South, I'm not saying that, right? But if your bigger metropolitan areas are in blue states, then they're going to have higher percentage rates of
that's right.
COVID.
Especially back in July before
Right.
this started raging through the South and the Southwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's put that hat of July 1st back on. Researchers at Columbia University created a model gauging coronavirus transmission rates from basically middle March to early May. They found if the U.S. had started social distancing just 2 weeks before, it could have prevented what percent of cases and deaths? They are very similar numbers. So let's say together, what percent of cases and deaths could have been prevented if we had started social distancing about 2 weeks before March 15th?
Weren't they saying about 30?
I thought
15%?
30,000 deaths is what I heard could have been
I
prevented.
thought it was 100,000.
Oh, 30,000 deaths.
Yeah, that sounds
But
about
I
right.
couldn't-
Oh, that would be higher percent.
50%.
No, about 33%.
You know, it says here that basically the mean for the two of these is 83% of transmission
Really?
could
Okay.
have been prevented. Yeah, if we had started social distancing earlier, which is why these things that Bob Woodward discovered essentially in plain sight are so demonstrative, because we know for a fact that things are being politicized and people aren't even trying to hide it, which is kind of brutal to be a
Yeah, it
scientist.
was nice of Bob to share that with the rest of us.
Yes, I know. When book sales will be highest.
He said he was that Trump often says things that are incorrect, so he had to wait to have that be reported out, which is stupid, because the relevant fact, I mean, whether Trump was right or wrong, he was saying things he believed to be true and
Right.
lying to, I mean, he believed, right, that this was deadly and that it was airborne, and he lied to us about it.
Right.
So whether he knew at the time that what he was saying was true or not is irrelevant,
Mhm.
right? He was,
Yeah.
okay, sorry. I had to get
No,
that off
it's
my
true.
chest.
It's true. You're going down that route that you do, that logic that you do. People over 80 are how many times as likely to pass from COVID-19 than those who are just in their 20s?
A lot.
8
That's
times.
high.
4 or 5
10.
times?
A lot gets partial credit. I'm sorry, Dan, Mara.
It's not 8. Okay. 8's not a lot enough.
No. You are
No.
the wrong order of magnitude.
500%?
80.
100.
You are, so this is not by percentage. This is by times.
Fine.
Oh,
It says here, you are 184 times more likely to pass over
Really?
the age of 80
whoa.
than you are in your 20s. So that's a hit right there.
Yikes.
Yes.
You know, according to the governor of Texas, our elderly folks should just be willing to give up their lives for the economy.
Yeah.
You're right.
Have you guys seen that meme? If it was the other way around, you know, what the 80-year-olds would do to, you know, save us, you know, as opposed to us giving them up.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's, you know, that's the sad fact of it, you know.
A little sad and levity mixed together. As of 1st of July, 2020, what question? So in the form of a question,
Levity.
what question has Google registered a sudden surge of queries for as of July 1st, 2020?
Where can I find a mask?
That's good, but that's not it.
Where can I get tested?
That's good, but that's not it.
Where can Stephen Manning find liquor at 3:30 in the morning?
Did not register on Google. Sorry.
We know the answer to that anyway, Dave.
Additional liquor.
Additional liquor. No, the question that it saw surge just about basically the start of summer was, what day of the week is it today?
Oh,
That's funny.
Yeah.
isn't that what this device is for? You know,
Right.
I know. Beth's eyebrows pretty much say the whole thing, but
I frequently forget. I forgot what day of the week it was a lot.
Yeah, but
Yes.
if you stop and think about it, don't you think you can figure it out? Do you really have to resort to Googling it? Really?
No, I have my phone or a calendar or whatever. But
yeah, come on, think about it. People use this. You use the weather app as opposed to sticking their head out the door. You know, I mean,
I do that too.
yeah.
no, it's true. During the initial month of Chicago's coronavirus lockdown, arrests were up or down by what percent?
Rest were down by
Down.
Yeah, down.
80.
75%.
No, they were up.
Actually, it says here that Dan is the knower of all, down 73% is what it
There's
says.
fewer people out in the streets, Jim. That's
While murders went up.
oh,
Murders went up, but these are arrests.
oh,
Okay, arrest.
Murders went up in the same time.
In a similar time frame, yes, they did actually.
People get cooped up. People get goofy. So
I'm very proud that I was wearing a mask before the end of March. Before
Right.
anyone was I'm like,
Yep.
it can't hurt and it might help.
That's
Well,
right.
why not do it? And then, of course, I was right about that.
Mhm.
Masks, masks, masks.
Alcohol sales in March 2020. were up-
Alcohol.
Booze.
They were up by what percent compared to 12 months earlier?
Say
300.
38%.
50.
Dan, you're losing a little bit of your shine. This one goes to Heather. It was 55%.
Ah.
That's all? Gee.
Damn. I thought it was more.
Okay, Jim, this was just March. Wait till you see the.
Hey, Patty's Day comes in March, you know?
Oh my gosh. What percent leading into July 1st were the time today, those days cars were parked on average? What percent of the time leading into July 1st?
Were those, wait, could you repeat the question?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
What percent of the time were cars parked from 15th of March to 1st of July?
It's going to be really high, right?
98.
75%.
Park the entire time?
I
The
think
entire
I bought
time.
gas twice in that period and only got about 5 gallons each time.
This one goes to Mara.
No.
It's 95% of the
Yeah.
time cars were
Yep.
parked. Yep.
I mean, you know, it's bad when my.
Oh, I understand. Okay, now I understand.
Air
the question.
quality improved dramatically. I mean, it was
Yeah.
great for lowering greenhouse gas emissions.
Even in,
for us all
even
to
in
be
New
on.
Delhi.
But then what would happen is that critters would get in and start chewing on the electrical wires because the cars hadn't been moved, right?
All the whistle pigs.
Ah.
Tasty.
Mhm.
My insurance company keeps asking me for an odometer reading because I send it in, and from month to month, it's like 16 miles. You know, can't believe this, so they keep asking me, please give us an odometer reading. You know, so I send it in, and
Yes.
you know, another 16 miles for that month.
Just give them the odometer readings off of your lawnmower.
Stephen, your insurance company will never ask for your social security number or your odometer reading. So you should really,
I've been scammed.
Professors,
you're being scammed.
how many individual droplets can be generated by a human sneeze?
100,000.
A
1
million.
million.
High. 100,000 is high.
Oh.
Oh,
Then 10,000.
I mean, you're at the right order of magnitude. This one goes to Jim. It's 40,000 droplets per sneeze. It's not that big, actually.
Well, I know some people that have bigger sneezes than most.
indeed,
Oh,
including my cat. One of my cats, 2 of my cats.
Does
Actually.
your cat have COVID?
Yeah, have you had them tested?
No, the cats cannot get COVID, which is why I wished I had taught Fiji how to drive so I could send him out on
Errands, yeah.
errands.
Mhm.
Just got, Beth, that's awesome. I just got a vision of Fiji wearing like a driving cap and like walking into the room like, where to, Miss Beth?
Okay, so cats can't get COVID, but dogs can.
Yes.
Well, cats are better.
I think
I'm
I
not
read
touching
somewhere
that
like
one.
1 case of a cat getting COVID, but of course, if they could give it to us, they probably would.
Would
Yes.
choose to.
They
Oh,
would
I'm sure
choose.
they would, yeah. They're generous. Mhm.
Yes.
Not
They're
generous.
helpless.
They want
They're-
to take over the
They're
world.
givers. They're givers.
Oh my. How many locally transmitted cases of coronavirus did Hong Kong record for the month of June 2020?
25.
2.
No, it's got to be more than that.
Oh, it's Dan all over again. Their official count was 3 for the month
Ah,
of
Dan, you're killing it today.
Man,
I want the prize. I'm after the prize. There's a prize, right?
can you buy
Is
lottery?
that what
I'm
Leslie was
doing
digging out from the
that.
back? Am I going to win a pot or something?
Actually, I hesitate to
Will it
bring
come
up-
with food in it?
there will be food.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to it. I'll come over.
The Mayo family's making pork buns tonight. That is not
Oh.
You kidding me?
our own.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm very
Oh.
serious.
If I start
That's
walking now, I'll be
rude.
there in 10 minutes.
Hey,
All of you will receive your pork bun in the mail in 2 to 5 weeks.
Wing
Thank
Hung
you.
here in Southfield has started a dim sum menu, and they've got 2 different kinds of pork buns on there.
Nice.
Oh, very nice.
I know the ones.
But you know, our zip code, Heather's and Stephen and mine, was one of the top 3 for COVID cases in the Detroit metro area.
Yep.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, Beth, because our last question here is which zip code had the highest death rate of COVID-19 circa 1st of July 2020. I think that if you know the zip code, that'll be awesome. But you could also give me just a part of the country.
New York.
Yeah.
Heather
Yeah.
got it. It's a Brooklyn,
Oh,
112.
it's a 0, right, or 1 zip code. Yeah.
Exactly. So pretty amazing stuff there. Stephen, those questions are pretty awesome. And it's always good to be looking into the pandemic for a little bit of entertainment. Let's go to our list of ATP favorites to wrap up our show. And, oh, here we go. Okay. What is your professor's favorite outlandish excuse that came from a student?
Ooh.
Oh Lord. Oh my God.
Oh, I have one.
Go for it, Beth.
This is my very first semester teaching here, so it would have been fall of 1996. I had a student who told me that he was going to be late to class because he couldn't use the bathrooms on campus, so he had to go home between classes.
Okay.
Okay.
Campus.
To Lansing, Grand Rapids.
No, I think it was not that far away from campus, but it was kind of a jaw dropper. I'm like, what? Are you serious?
So what was
Germaphobe.
wrong with the bathrooms on campus? Tidiness?
Probably.
Some
Yeah.
cases,
Weird.
everything imaginable. I mean,
Bathroom
second
phobia?
floor bathrooms. I understand that the men's bathrooms in the Briggs building, at least on the second and third floors, are pretty bad.
Nasty.
They're pretty bad.
The ladies' rooms aren't much better.
Right.
They would be.
I don't know if this qualifies as outlandish. It's a little embarrassing. I had a student who had been had some serious attendance problems, and right before I go to class that she's in, the phone rings in my office. I pick it up. It's her again, saying that, and she's in a state, but she had been that way before, saying that she couldn't come to class. Was if she could come, it would be late. And I said, what now? And she said, my baby was kidnapped. And I said, okay.
All right.
So that was it. Of course, I didn't believe her. It turned out that it was true.
Oh my
She had come
God.
down from her apartment, had put the baby in a carrier on the stoop, forgot something, went back up, came back out, baby was gone.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God. Did they find the
Actually, that
baby?
Who
Huh?
picked up the baby?
They eventually found the baby, yes, but somebody had come by and scooped the whole thing up, taken it away, and I had nothing but excuses from this young woman. Turns out she was right. So
That was a legit
I
one.
can't
Huh?
believe that she called you to tell you that.
Oh my
Well,
God.
she knew. We had conversations. And I had basically said, you miss one more class, you're not going to pass this class, right?
Okay.
No more excuses.
Wow.
And she calls with this, which turned out not to be an excuse.
Incredible. I don't know how anybody's going to top that.
No. Being
That's-
stuck in an elevator and a shuttle just doesn't count anymore, you know?
Exactly.
You know, it seems to me more and more I don't even get excuses.
Yeah.
That's also true.
They just
do
don't
it.
show up. Yeah.
Outlandish or otherwise.
I
Yeah.
just do it.
I had a stolen car excuse, but a kidnapped baby, that tops the pile.
Yeah. Well,
Family members being shot.
Oh.
I've had that excuse.
Yes, I've had that one too.
I would be remiss if I didn't at least incidentally bring up, even though it's a little on the negative side, it brings us great joy, or at least it used to. John Stevens, who teaches physical chemistry and general chemistry in Mara's and my department, he says, my final exams are like kryptonite to grandparents. Like that was his he's like, I got grandmas and grandpas passing away, going into
Yes.
finals.
Multiple times. Yes.
Always.
Yes.
Never knew you had 14 grandparents, right?
Like, I think there's something about my exams, though, that makes them pass away. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh my. Well, I'm afraid, looking at the clock here, that we've reached the limit of what the universe can take for ATP today. So the time has come to say goodbye, Jim,
Goodbye.
Dave,
See yas.
Dan,
Bye.
Stephen,
Goodbye.
Beth,
Bye.
Heather,
Bye-bye.
Mara,
The limit does not exist.
and now these words from the University of Detroit Mercy. Ask the Professor is transcribed at the facilities of our houses, but we're still out of the Department of Communication Studies in the College of Liberal Arts and Education at University of Detroit Mercy. Ask the Professor is produced and technically directed by Michael Jason and Brian Masonville, and our executive producer is Professor Jason Roach. Until next week, I'm your host, Matt Mayo.